Now, let's go to US politics now, and the Vice President, Mike Pence, had an all-points victory today over the Democrat Veep candidate Kamala Harris. Normally, that wouldn't matter much, except most of America knows that if Joe Biden wins the election, there's a better than even chance that Harris becomes the first female president of the United States, within 4 years probably. Pence and Harris were much more polite and subdued than the main contenders last week, and there was also much more substance. More on that in a moment. But first, what the President had to say in a social media post beforehand, giving us an update on his COVID-19 infection.
I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible. And I think if I didn't catch it, we'd be looking at that like a number of other drugs. But it really did a fantastic job. I want to get for you what I got, and I'm going to make it free. You're not going to pay for it. It wasn't your fault that this happened. It was China's fault. And China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to the world. This was China's fault. And just remember that. So we're going to get you the drug. It's going to be free. We're going to get it into the hospitals as soon as you can, as soon as we can.
Oh, boy, the Lord works in mysterious ways. This bloke is something else, isn't he? Here's what Kamala Harris had to say about this in the debate.
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Yes. Now, as I mentioned, the vice presidential debate was more enlightening for sure than last week's presidential slugfest, and the pandemic was centre frame.
And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year, and it will have the capacity to save countless American lives, and your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is it's just unacceptable.
Notice the screens between the debaters there, between the two speakers. No one's taking chances with this virus in the US now. Now, the debate covered a lot of ground. Harris ran a lot of the disproven conspiracy theories against Trump about him allegedly failing to condemn white supremacists when, of course, we know he's done that countless times, or demeaning soldiers, which we know that's been denied by people who were there. But Pence hit back with reality, and he did that also on the issue of accepting the election result.
And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
When you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Now, Harris also said some things that will be played time and time again during this campaign, such as this.
Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that.
Now, the reason that'll be played again, that statement that Joe Biden will not end fracking, is because of what Biden and Harris have said in the past.
No new fracking. We are going to get rid of fossil fuels.
Well, like, what about, say, stopping fracking and stopping pipe?
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
There you go. No clarity on fracking there at all. That's why it's very clear that whether it has any impact on the election or not, but it's very clear that Mike Pence defeated Kamala Harris in today's debate. But once more, as the left sought to explain this defeat, our old friend identity politics got another run.
To you, because obviously Mike Pence, as a former television commentator, does have a very calm demeanor, but I think a lot of people were noticing some mansplaining going on tonight.
I don't know. I didn't see it that way.
I wonder if a woman candidate feels like she can't push as much or steamroll as much as, say, Mike Pence can for fear of seeming and offending some segment of the electorate. I'm not saying it should be that way, but I'm wondering if it is that way.
It really is that lame and that condescending. Let's bring in former Democrat White House advisor Barbara Heineback. Thanks for joining us again, Barbara. Do you think that Kamala Harris got a raw deal or somehow held back because she's a woman?
Neither one. They both had an equal opportunity. And unfortunately, Kamala said some things that are just 100% the opposite of what she said before when she was running for president as vice president. I mean, she has style. She's a smart, savvy woman. I met her briefly in San Francisco when she was DA before she left to go to LA to be the state attorney general. And it did come out, and, you know, Mike got his punch in, the vice president, saying that the odds were 19 times against others that Kamala would convict a black man to prison for a misdemeanor more than she would convict a Latino or a white man. So she didn't leave San Francisco with a good record. But during the debate, she said that she wouldn't condemn fracking, and now she does. I'm sorry, just the opposite. She said that she condemned it, and now she says she doesn't. And she also said that Joe Biden wouldn't raise taxes when he said he would do that on his first day. And the other thing she would not answer was, would they stack the courts? And most of the people on her A team have made it clear that they would stack the Supreme Court and other courts, which would then turn our judiciary department not into an overseer of government, but just a subsidiary of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, well, let's go through some of that, because as you say, I mean, on the face of it, she's a good candidate. Obviously, she's got a good career behind her as attorney in California. She's confident, articulate, presentable, all of that. But this was quite a substantial debate. On those issues, each candidate had plenty of time to actually talk through some detail, and she did get into trouble. I think this Supreme Court one is critical. They won't rule out. They're condemning the Republicans for putting conservatives onto the Supreme Court, yet they won't say what they would do. It raises all sorts of questions. How much does that cut through in the mainstream American political debate?
It's going to create, I certainly believe, the absolute largest turnout for voters that we've ever had in the United States. I think it was Barack Obama who had the last recent high turnout during his first administration. But this is going to take it over the top. I believe, other than maybe being in war, the most important thing a president can do is appoint someone to the Supreme Court. My president, Jimmy Carter, didn't have the opportunity to appoint anyone. No one left. But Obama had two to his court, and so far, the president, Trump, has had two, and this is his third opportunity. And any president who doesn't appoint someone and hopefully get them confirmed to the Supreme Court would be diligent in his duties if he or she didn't do that. And so far, they've all been he's, of course. So this is about the most important question that we have on the ticket right now. And also, we are looking at America changing greatly because Harris is the most far to the left person who could potentially be one breath away from the presidency. And we are not a socialist, and we certainly are not a Marxist country. And she and AOC are tight-knit, and the rest of the squad. It would change the framework of America as we have known it. So it's not about, I think, a lot of people going to the polls thinking they want the Democrats back in or a referendum on Donald Trump, but we are looking at the face of America being changed over time if this group gets in, because Joe Biden is not the one in charge. And if the president had done a better job during his debate and just allowed Joe Biden to speak, we would have had an opportunity to see that, but we didn't.
Yeah, now, race relations got a strong running here, and Mike Pence was very generous in congratulating Kamala Harris on the history of being the first African-American woman to run in that position. And, of course, she stands, she could be the first female vice president and the first female president, of course, in the next 4 years. But have a look at what the former First Lady Michelle Obama said earlier in the week.
So what the president is doing is, once again, patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist. But that doesn't mean it won't work.
There we go, Michelle Obama there. Barbara, I'm just fascinated to get your response to Michelle Obama saying that Donald Trump is racist and that could work for him electorally.
That is so sad. Michelle Obama was our first lady. Her husband was the first Black man to ever be elected to the presidency of the United States. I was thrilled to see that, and I worked hard on his first campaign to help get him elected. I had hoped that he would do a little more when he realized the tide was against him, to really dig his heels in and achieve more. But I am sick and tired and finished of seeing Americans and for someone like Michelle Obama, the most important and popular woman, Black American woman in the country, to play the race card. Let's look at what have the Democrats done over the last 4 years. That's what's important on this ticket. And they've done nothing other than try to get Donald Trump out of office and tried to impeach him. They tried to play the Russia card. That didn't work, and all the rest. She should be ashamed of herself when they have achieved so much and had such a good run and opportunity. And now, Barack Obama didn't say anything about race during his presidency until 2 weeks before the Democratic Party realized, oh, dear Lord, Hillary may not win. Something's going on in the country, because they were so slam dunk sure that she had it in the bag. And I think Michelle should be ashamed. Let's remember that at least on 2 different occasions, Barack Obama was asked to endorse Joe Biden, and he wouldn't do it. And he recommended to Joe Biden not to run. Wow.
Barbara, thanks again for sharing your insights.
Certainly. Thank you for having me, Chris. Have a good evening.
Barbara Heineback there. Yeah, it's very, very sad to see this racial divide so prominent in the presidential election.